I was always afraid that the things most precious to my mother's world would get hidden, buried, or lost. Like her special homemade recipes and the sound of her speaking Yiddish to me.
You put it in little balls and they grow up for big balls. And they're called matzo balls. They have a name.
Tell me the Yiddish name.
Yiddish name is knedlach.
My mother's a typical Jewish mother. She loves food.
Our Kreuz is going to heal us tonight. A little more wine to it.
Yeah.
Make it more sweeter because it's bitter. Now is the medicine right. It calls Kreuzes. Okay?
Okay.
5 years ago, I would make it a ritual to tape every Passover Seder, from my mother's food preparations to the actual dinner.
You want to taste?
I had this obsession ever since my dad died to not let memories slip away.
So tell us how you made the knedler.
You want the recipe? You have to pay for it.
How?
It's a secret recipe.
Here's my sister Gretel.
Do you have to keep it in the
She's trying to get an exact recipe from my mother.
I automatically.
Well, good luck. My mother's recipes were never exact. They were just part of her. Like so many other things, not easy for her to reveal.
A glass of matzo meal.
A glass is like a cup?
A cup.
Yeah, a cup.
Yeah.
Bittersweet?
My mother worked hard the whole week preparing for this dinner.
Have something to
She
drink.
seems so tired here. I wish I could find some photos of my mother as a young girl before the war. There aren't any. My mother was born in a small shtetl in southern Poland called Bilgeraj.
I miss that people gathering together and the stories they used to tell to each other. Beautiful stories, but I can't recall.
In September 1939, almost the whole Jewish quarter of Bilgeraj was set on fire in a heavy bombardment by the German Air Force. My mother was 10 at the time. They narrowly escaped deportation to a concentration camp if it hadn't been for my grandmother Pearl, who quickly packed up the family and crossed the border into Russia, leaving behind their home, their friends and family, and life as they knew it. My mother met my father in Uzbekistan.
The foxtrot. This is the first foxtrot I danced with you, Father.
There's my sister Gretel as a little girl and Mom. She was born in a displaced persons camp in Berlin after the war. Now here's my favorite. It's both a Jewish New Year's greeting card and a record of my sister, mother, and father coming by boat to Canada in 1951. Both my parents were hardworking, yet they loved to dress up and be glamorous for parties. My father was a carpenter. My mother worked in a hot dog factory.
I went to shops to pack hot dogs in a freezer. How many sweaters I had to put on me because it was so cold.
After working all day, she took English classes at night. My mother once told me that the hunger and poverty they experienced during the war made them wait a long time, in fact, 11 years until I was born.
You know what it was? The war is to make a living. Killed me.
I don't remember much music and play growing up.
It was hard. Just I forgot all the songs, all the life. We had to put bread on the table. And it was not easy.
Most of the music that did come into our house came through the cracks. Like watching Don Messer play his fiddle on TV with my sister Gretel, and we would get up and dance as if he were playing specially for us.
Well, they're gonna boil. You'll see how they're gonna boil. They're gonna come up. Okay. Wait.
Here's my mom's pride and joy, kreplach. She always offered me a taste, but I wanted more than food.
Oh, look, now you can see. Come closer. See they're boiling now? Mm-hmm. They're coming up. So till they're all gonna be up, so they'll be cooked.
For ages, I tried to get her to sing and share some of herself.
Another 4 minutes.
Recently, I would find ways to squeeze out a song from her. That's where I'd see her coming to life.
You'll see how I'm going to take them out.
Is your mom a singer?
Yes, my mother was also. She likes to sing also, yeah.
Do you remember any of her songs?
I don't. It's a long time, honey. It's hard to remember.
It frustrated me that I couldn't get more. My hunger and frustration drove me to find music for myself. I picked up the fiddle 10 years ago and fell in love with Appalachian old-time music. The contagious rhythm and spirit of the music spoke to me in a way I hadn't experienced before. One day my mother came over and actually asked me to play the fiddle for her. She keenly started to observe my bow strokes, saying, "Make some shorter, others longer, and vary the sound." She then told me that she was glad that I played the fiddle. I couldn't believe my ears. My mother was stepping outside of herself and reclaiming music again. This is what I'd been waiting for. I had so many questions.
Hey, Ma.
Everything.
You're always preparing. Hiya, that's good. Mwah. Good to see you. Mwah.
Good to see you too.
She look really pretty.
Am I?
Yeah.
So do you? Wow. Mother and daughter.
Yeah.
I wanted to know more about her life before the war and the music she remembered.
Just like mine,
I wanted to know about her favorite brother, my uncle.
It's a darker pink.
He died during the war at the age of 18.
I know.
He was 3.5 years older than I am. His name was Chaim. Here, they say Elvis Presley, he was just better than him. Believe me, he was good looking. And he cut the most beautiful violin by himself. Even my father was surprised. How did you do it? And he played tunes on this little violin.
Do you remember any of the tunes that he played?
This was like a tango, the dance. Przytul, uściśnij, pocałuj, bo może to ostatni raz. Jeśli odejdę, nie żaluj, że to skończyło się wszak. Bo zwykle jesienią tak bywa, że miłość więdnie jak jak. Jutro ty będziesz szczęśliwa, spójrz jaki piękny ten świat.
Three months after I filmed my mother, she ended up in hospital with an unexpected heart attack. When I saw her in the ICU room, she told me that she had more stories to share when she got out and books that she wanted to write. 4 hours later, she died. Although I learned so much from my mother recently, I felt I had just begun. Maybe there's never enough time to know someone in all their depth and all their stories. I just learned this song from my mother a few months before she died. It's one of the first songs Chaim taught my mother over 60 years ago.
Oh, Halino, Madzie.
I am now the voice singing her song, the voice telling her story.
Szumio jodle na gorzycje, szumio, szumio, szumio w dal. Jaka tęskne jest gorzycje, kiedy u mnie nie ma żal.